found in the heat of battle.
Alright folks, this is part 3, and it is time that we wrap up this God of War marathon that will honor the upcoming release of God of War 3 this March. After the big success of God of War 2, there wasn't any doubt that a third game would be made for the PlayStation 3, but another developer took interest in the series, and they made a new game that would act as a prequel to the game's chronology. Video game prequels are nothing new these days, as they have become more popular for developers to branch out new ideas for the future of a game's chronology. Most of them, like Crisis Core, Tales of Symphonia, Devil May Cry 3, and Metal Gear Solid 3, have done really well, but some like Yoshi's Story, Lunar Dragon Song, and Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero should have been left to rot in the dust. Does Chains of Olympus become a hit or a miss? Let's find out. God of War Chains of Olympus is a third-person hack-and-slash action game under the development of Ready at Dawn Studios, the company most famous for Daxter, the prequel to Jak 2, and the Wii port of Okami. Be sure to embrace yourself for another double RPG review as we delve deep into the prequel about Kratos' past before the events of the first game. It should be a fun ride. Taking place during Kratos' 10-year service to the gods of Olympus, his adventure begins with helping the Spartans in the city of Attica in stopping an invading army of Persians. Among the muscle of the Persian army is a giant and deadly basilisk that has a single intent: to destroy the defending army of Sparta. While most of the Spartans have a hard time fighting off against the invaders, Kratos' strength and combat experience manages to overthrow most of the invaders, including its lead commander. Finally, Kratos comes into contact with the basilisk, and he delivers it no mercy with a deadly kill. After a short and unsatisfied victory, the sun begins to fall onto the earth, and a shroud of darkness begins to lurk all over ancient Greece. Is this the work of a god, or is it the work of someone that is lurking in the shadows? Kratos must have no choice but to save the land from the engulfing darkness and make an incisive decision that will determine his future from being heavily attached to his past. Just like in the previous games of the series, Chains of Olympus once again puts you in the role as playing as the ghost of Sparta, Kratos. You will explore the worn-torn and brooding world of ancient Greece to the pits of Tartarus, a sublevel in the realm of Hades. During the course of your journey, you will come across power-ups and a new weapon that will grant you better leeway that will lead you into saving Greece from being one with the darkness. It should come as no surprise that the game is set in a linear path, but there will be times when you have to go through paths that will bring you back to certain locations to bring you toward the next one. You will end up fighting against many enemies that plague the grounds of your path, and puzzles that will help you on your way to the next location. Boss fights are back, as you will face newer foes such as the Persian king, the basilisk, the boatman of Hades named Charon, and Hades' wife, Persephone. It should also come as no surprise as red orbs for equipment upgrades and green and blue orbs to restore your health and magic play a pinnacle in the gameplay. If you saw my last 2 reviews, then you'll know their purpose, as I won't be delving into those facts ever again. Even the QuickTime events are back in full force, but the animations are really different to reflect the operations and gameplay for a PSP title. While your objective is different this time around, the main concept pretty much follows the same formula as the last 2 games, so it's nothing new. It works though! Since this game is on the PSP, the control scheme is played out a bit differently than before. Moving Kratos is executed by moving the analog stick on the left. Jumping is done with the X button, as well as double jumping by pressing the X button twice. Weak attacks are done with the square button, and strong attacks are executed with the triangle button. Grabbing your enemies is done with the circle button, and you can prompt yourself to brutally murder your opponent or throw them with the Blades of Chaos. Pressing the right shoulder button with the square, triangle, or circle button will prompt you to use a magic spell like Ifrit's Rage, Light of Dawn, and Charon's Wrath. Doing special moves with the left shoulder button and the square, triangle, and circle buttons is set in place for this game, which is nice. Now, evading from enemy attacks is done differently by holding the left and right shoulder buttons and moving the analog stick in a certain direction to dodge from enemy blows. QuickTime events are executed with the circle button when the game prompts you to. The execution on some of the QuickTime events doesn't need the use of rapid button mashing, as it is a bit more easier for you not to damage the PSP hardware. Other than that, that is what you have to know about the controls for this game, as they are much more sophisticated for a handheld. For a PSP title, the graphics aren't going to match the capabilities of the attention to detail in the PS2 games and PS3 re-releases. However, the detail in this game is really spectacular for a handheld. From its character models to the design of the environments, the attention to detail is exquisite. It almost looks like one step above the graphic capabilities of a PS1 title. This is because the game is worked on Ready at Dawn's proprietary engine in its second form, Ready at Dawn Engine 2.0. This engine was used to match the capabilities of the PSP's restrictive 222 MHz processing unit, so the frame rate has a hard time to try to match the same as the previous games in the franchise. There are some slowdowns and speedups in the frame rate, but it is an annoyance that can be overlooked. As a handheld game worked with restrictions on a portable device, with some visuals that look top-notch in quality, it's not bad.